What kind of woman kills herself to stay alive? Alexandria, 51 BC. A city carved from stone and smoke, where gods and mortals drink from the same golden chalice. And at its heart, a 17-year-old queen with the mind of a serpent and the smile of a goddess. Her name was Cleopatra, and before she was legend, she was prey. The Nile ran red, not from war, but betrayal. Her own brother, Ptolemy XIII, coiled like a golden asp beside her throne, wore innocence like a mask, but whispered treason behind the silks. Rome watched, hungry. Two emissaries in marble togas with wolfish grins and parchment dripping in threats. Caesar's name was inked across the horizon, and Cleopatra knew the next move had to be hers. So she vanished, a queen without a crown, a corpse without a grave, her assassination orchestrated by her own hand. As whispers of her death echoed through the palace, conspirators slithered from the walls like rats offered bread. They revealed themselves, every traitor, every coward who smiled while sharpening knives. But Cleopatra watched, hidden in plain sight, listening, learning. And her brother, crowned pharaoh in her absence, he drank deeply from his moment in the sun. But power, when handed to boys, burns like oil in open flame. The plot thickened like Nile silt. Cleopatra's inner circle? Breached. Her guards? Bought. And the Romans? Watching, ever watching, wondering if Egypt would fall like a fruit too ripe for its own branch. But power, true power, does not beg. It waits. It schemes. And when the time came, she rose from the tomb they made for her, alive, unbroken, a ghost turned queen. She summoned the emissaries of Rome, not to kneel, but to choose, align with a lioness, or be devoured. Ptolemy flinched. The mask cracked, and in the eyes of Caesar's men, they saw not a dead girl, but a ruler reborn through fire and cunning. The cost? Everything. Her name, her soul, her sister's life. But what is the crown, if not a cage gilded in sacrifice? History would paint her in shadows, lover, temptress, witch. But beneath every lie was a woman, dancing through fire, cloaked in mirrors. This is not the Cleopatra you know. 3 nights before her death, Cleopatra stood barefoot on the cold alabaster floor of her chamber. A loyal servant knelt before her, trembling, holding a scroll. One name was circled in blood-red ink: General Achillas, her military commander. Trusted, feared, bought. He had sold her secrets to Rome, had stood in her shadow for years, and now plotted with Ptolemy to erase her from history. So she penned her final letter, sealed it in wax, kissed her sister Arsinoe on the forehead, and disappeared into myth. The palace awoke to chaos. Servants wept. Ptolemy played the grieving brother. Rome grinned behind closed doors. Meanwhile, in the belly of the palace, Cleopatra moved like a shadow. A servant's robe hid the scent of jasmine and war paint. Her eyes, once feared, now just another pair among the countless. She heard everything. Ptolemy had promised land, gold, women, anything to keep Rome entertained while Egypt bled. Achillas planned to seize command, purge dissenters, and crown himself protector. It was treason. It was madness. It was inevitable. And still, Cleopatra waited for the perfect moment. For the one man who could flip the chessboard, Julius Caesar. He came with legions, Not to kneel, but to claim. Cleopatra had one chance. She smuggled herself into Caesar's chambers, in a rug, not as queen, not as prisoner, but as myth incarnate. And when the fabric fell, and she rose before him, wrapped in linen and silence, even Rome's lion paused. He expected fear. He found fire. The next morning, Egypt woke to a storm. Caesar stood beside Cleopatra, alive, crowned. Ptolemy raged. Achillas drew steel. The palace became a crucible. Rome's legions clashed with palace guards. Fires tore through silk-draped corridors. And amidst the chaos, Cleopatra moved with divine calm. She had not faked her death for escape. She had baited the trap. The traitors were unmasked, stripped, executed. And Ptolemy, desperate to flee, drowned in the Nile, his golden armor dragging him to history's depths. But victory has its price. Caesar remained, not as ally, but as occupier. Egypt, once sovereign, now danced on a Roman leash. And Cleopatra, she wore the crown, but each gem pulsed with memory of lies told, blood spilled, family lost. She stood taller, spoke softer, smiled less. And the world watched again. To rule, she had become illusion, shadow and light, life and legend. This was her gift, and her curse. They called her temptress, murderess, goddess. But the truth, she was smoke and mirrors. She was power in a world built to break her. She was Cleopatra,